One of us.
Welcome, listeners, and Ben.
Aiden.
Yeah, it's been a while. I just forgot how to do all this stuff. There's a lot of new updates. As you can see, this isn't Nick.
I'm not Nick. Surprise.
So yeah, we've had some recent changes. Nick is a full-time student, as many of you know.
Nerd.
He is a nerd,
He is.
and he's a full-time dad, and he's a full-time worker. So Ben has been called up to the major leagues, up from the minors to the majors.
There it is.
And hopefully, when Nick comes back, he'll continue with us.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for bringing me on to fill Nick's shoes. Small shoes to fill, but
that's
I'll
right.
do my best.
So yeah, I don't know what to say. I guess we'll try and get to know Ben a little more. I didn't know him, but a lot of you don't. So Ben, tell us your favorite football team, perhaps, and maybe a couple of just little fantasy tidbits about you, like how many years you've been playing fantasy football, and some of your your strategies you use. I don't know.
Yeah, so I've been playing fantasy football since I was like 10. First season, Ben Roethlisberger was my quarterback, and the rookie Matthew Stafford was the backup. It was a pretty good year. Discovered Jamal Charles on the waiver wire.
On
the waiver wire late that season, yeah. So it's been a while. Took a little break after I went to a Bible college for a year and kind of took a little break after that, but got back into it a couple years ago when Aiden was like, hey, let's start a league, and had the unfortunate pleasure, I guess, of losing to Aiden in the championship this year, but,
That's right.
whatever. Justin Jefferson's a bum. Typically just like, whatever roster you start with, my philosophy is if you end with it, you probably ended up out of the playoffs, missing the playoffs. Trades, waivers, always on the waivers. This past year was a lot of trades. Took advantage of Nick quite a bit. But yeah, it's been interesting watching the shift go from trying to stock up on consistency at running back to the best teams now ending up with 3 wide receivers that can score 30 points any given week. Seems to be the better way to go right now as the league shifts away from running. It's more of a passing league. Favorite football team, Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
You a big fan of the Zeke release?
I kind of like it. I'm a little bummed they should have traded him 2 years ago, and they probably could have got something for him. But Jerry Jones is stubborn, and that's why Zeke's been on the roster for the last 2 or 3 years, pretty much, with his 2 point whatever yards per carry.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I guess in the next few weeks we'll see where Zeke goes. A lot of big changes came to the NFL world recently, and I'm sure it'll continue on. So, with that being said, we'll first thank you, Ben. Thank you for being here and telling us about yourself. Now that we got our little awkward intros done, just because we've been out of it for a while, we'll just jump into some I guess big news in the NFL world, as well as. Well, if it's big news in the NFL world, it's probably gonna be big news in the fantasy world. But yeah, it's been a big free agency. The legal tampering period just started up a few weeks ago. So with the new year coming in, there's been a lot of contracts being players re-signing, signing with different teams, trading, all that stuff. So kind of what Ben and I are gonna do is we're gonna go through some of our maybe favorite, not so favorite, notable, whatever it is, just signings and trades.
Yeah, and as we record this, Lamar is still a Raven. He's not, but he is. And Aaron Rodgers isn't a Jet, which I think would be hilarious if he ends up just retiring.
If
After
they get like
spent all this
Lazard and
money
they get Lazard there, they get
sway
Odell
him in.
Odell Beckham there.
I think that would be hilarious. But
Well, I guess starting off, Ben, do you want to tell us what is? I know you got a list of guys. Who would you say, like, out of your little list is like the most juicy, tasty signing or trade?
I think I made my list after you, so I think you have probably the biggest one that I like. But Miles Sanders to the Panthers. I have a bunch of Panthers. They've had an interesting offseason after getting loaded up on picks in the McCaffrey trade and getting rid of
DJ?
DJ. Well, also burned a bunch of picks there, but I mean they still have a pretty much a full draft worth of picks if I'm not mistaken, and but Miles Sanders in tandem with, I mean this doesn't directly affect fantasy, but Bradley Bozeman, they snagged him away from Baltimore on that offensive line, which was, I mean it was decent last year, but that's going to be an upgrade there, which leads to Miles Sanders to the Panthers. I've always liked Miles Sanders. Got a 4-year, $25 million deal, $11 million signing bonus, so that's guaranteed, which is a pretty cap-friendly deal. I think his cap hit's only like 3-point-something million this year. But this past year, 2022, he finally got to be the lead back in Philly. Or at least felt like the lead back in Philly. He did set a career high in carries. He had 80 more carries than the next highest, which was his rookie season back in 2019. He's super talented. Like you can see it when he plays. He never seems to be. He's never been seriously hurt that I can remember. He's just been stuck with the rotating committee and under Doug Peterson and then now Sirianni. With Boston Scott, Darren Sproles, those guys who don't seem like they have a role, but come in at least once or twice
Darren Sproles
every series. Well, yeah, he was still there when Sanders started. I think.
I don't think
he played forever.
Maybe he did.
I don't know.
No, I do like that pickup, especially just because you look at who else is around him. It's like with Philly, he just kind of got phased out because Jalen Hurts runs all the time.
Right, and that's another thing,
and they have A.J. Brown. They just have such, like, a great, like, passing offense. But then here in Carolina, who do they have? It's like he might be the guy, honestly.
Right, and you saw it. I mean, you saw it last year with Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. Like, they tried to emphasize, obviously, new coach, Frank Reich. I forget who finished out. Was it Matt Rule? No, Matt Rule got fired. I forget the interim coach last year, but I mean they tried to emphasize the run, tried to make up for the loss of McCaffrey because that's who their team was built around. And I think Sanders, I really like Deontay Foreman, but I think Sanders is more athletic, he's more versatile as a back, and you don't have to worry too much about his injury history. There's not a whole lot there. So I like that signing. I think it's intriguing, and I think that, he's going to be the guy there, right? I don't think there's anyone, when I was looking at it, I didn't see anyone notable on the depth chart to take
Chuba, because Foreman left. But, he's not really
down back,
maybe every once in a while he'll just be a change of pace, like give him a breather. But then it's like they have Thielen and Chark, and they did pick up Hayden Hurts.
Yeah.
But those aren't A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or.
No, they're not. But it feels like it's the budget friendly pairing. That's actually two more of my signings. We're talking about them. So DJ Chark, it's a 1-year, $5 million. Show me what you can do. Prove that can go out and get paid. So. He was an All-Pro in 2019, All-Star, All-Pro.
I think it was that 1 year with the Jaguars. Yeah, he had a good year.
And I think he broke his leg the next year. But he's still got the speed. I don't know if he can still run that 4.3 40 But you saw it with the Lions last year. There was a couple plays where, you know, I think he dropped the one. I'm thinking of in particular. He dropped it down the sideline, but he was wide open. He's an interesting acquisition, especially paired with, you know, the rest of that Hayden Hurst and also Adam Thielen. Even though Thielen's he's old at this point, and his yards per target have dropped 1 full yard since each year for the last 2 years. Partly because of Justin Jefferson being able to stretch the field more. I mean, Thielen's been more of that short yardage, and you saw it this last season, that red zone guy for Kirk Cousins. Or I guess 2 seasons ago, he had fewer touchdowns this past season. But I think it's intriguing what they've done to the offense.
I like it. I think it's cheap. I like it. Cheap as in like a good cheap. Like they didn't spend much.
They didn't spend much. They could go out and still spend money somewhere else to improve their team.
And they're gonna take a quarterback, so it's probably gonna be Stroud.
I think they're gonna take Richardson.
That's what I thought too, but I don't know. I'm thinking it would make the most sense for them to take Richardson, like trading up for someone of that type of like unique ability.
Yeah.
I think Stroud's gonna be really good, but I just didn't see anyone trading up to snag him because he could have. Were they at the 7th, 6th, something like that?
Yeah, they were still gonna get one of the 4 quarterbacks. I think. I just don't. After the combine, it was like right after the combine where they made that deal with Chicago. You know, right after Richardson set all those records. So I think he was the guy that they were targeting, and I think
Cam Newton 2.0.
Yeah, I think they were comfortable waiting and thinking he would fall, and if not, you know, still Will Levis. But then he did that. I think he was going to be the first quarterback off the board after that. And I don't know. I mean, he's freakishly athletic, but man, durability in the NFL with that style of play that he's built for. Cam Newton, RG3, I mean Lamar, that's the whole issue right now is people are talking about his durability. I think that's part of the reason he can't find a trade.
Right.
And I mean, the past 2 seasons, I think he's been hurt both the past 2 seasons. He missed over half of this season.
Lamar did?
Yeah.
I think he missed like 5 games.
Was it only 5?
I thought it was like only 5 or 6.
Like more.
It felt like forever or a ton.
But I mean, that's what you get with a run-first quarterback who tries to run through guys. We saw what the Bears did with Justin Fields. They let him use his legs, and he did get hurt toward the end, but it felt like what he was doing was more of outside the pocket, not running through guys. He wasn't taking as many chances as, I mean, Cam Newton would.
Actually, you talking about the Panthers and Bears.
Yeah.
Leads me into probably actually my favorite off-season like addition is the Panthers trading pretty much their birthright to the Bears for that number 1 pick. Yeah, pretty much everyone was surprised. No one expected that to happen. And I guess for a while it was even rumored like the Bears might even take a quarterback. And I was like, I did not like that idea. I
was surprised. I think that was all just speculation from
just having the first pick.
Yeah.
But I do like it. So this is the what the Panthers gave up for that number 1 pick is they gave up the number 9 pick, a 2nd-round pick later this year, a 1st-round pick next year, and then a 2025 2nd-round pick. So the 2 years from now, I guess, and then DJ Moore. And I think this is my favorite trade, free agent signing, whatever. Not for the Panthers though, but for basically just for every Justin Fields reason. I don't even know how to word that. Just for Justin Fields' sake, he got a number one receiver, who I think is severely underrated. He's pretty much. I don't really know what he had last year. He didn't have a really good year last year, but the last 4 years are all 1,000-yard seasons. Doesn't get a lot of touchdowns, but I mean, he's about as reliable as they come. Catches everything. He's big. He's fast.
I mean, yeah, it'll be. I really like that. That was probably my favorite pickup of the offseason, or transaction. DJ Moore to the Bears with
Darnell is a 2.
Darnell is a 2, and I mean Claypool is a 3. Claypool's a little, if he can get out of his own head, he's very talented.
He's as good as a 3 as you can get.
Yeah, and DJ Moore, like you said, he's been consistent, and he's done that with how many different quarterbacks and poor quarterbacks.
Yeah.
On the Panthers the past few years. I think this is the year that Justin Fields, he took a step last year. Second half of the season really showed that he belongs in this league, and I think this year he has to follow it up.
Where do you think he gets drafted at? Like, maybe not rounds, but like around what quarter? Obviously, he's going to be past the big guys, right? Like after he won't be
Mahomes,
Josh Allen, Lamar.
Maybe not Lamar. I don't know about Lamar.
Burrow and Hurts. Though I think those 4.
I think he's the next one. I think Herbert's going to slip in drafts. I think personally, I think Herbert should be up there, higher with. With Kellen Moore going in there, in the pressure situation, I did not like Kellen Moore's play calls. QB sneaks with 8 seconds left, no timeouts, stuff like that. But I mean, he did a really good job in Dallas and had super efficient and high-scoring offenses throughout his tenure there. And I think Justin Herbert is way better than Dak. I wonder if he's reached his ceiling yet. I think he's still.
So you'd put Herbert as like right.
I would put Herbert up there, but
so him right in the round or the Herbert.
Herbert, Burrow.
Okay.
Behind the Mahomes, Allen.
So what is that, like 6?
Yeah, I think they go 4 or 5, rounds 4 and 5. I think people are going to be a little freaked out after the quarterback debacle.
Yeah, I think
last year.
I think he's definitely poised for a great a breakout season.
But I think Fields goes right in with that group.
You think so?
Yeah, he's got all the weapons around him to have a strong season the whole way through the season. I think we already talked about the wide receivers, but Khalil Herbert, and they picked up D'Onta Foreman, right, to be the backup there. Not that Fields' value is on the ground, but he's got those 3 receivers, and Cole Kmet, and
then what were you gonna say? Sorry, I was gonna say
the other tight end they grabbed.
They grabbed another one. I know they had a guy from the Eagles a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think.
But I mean, now they have all this draft capital to draft a bunch of people. It'd be sweet for the number 9 pick is if I'm not all in on Khalil Herbert and D'Onta Foreman. So if they could they should
grab Bijan.
They should grab Bijan at 9. Or they could just really bolster the O-line. They could do honestly whatever they want, but Bijan at 9 would be.
That would make this team almost like a Madden. That would probably be the most fun offense to play in Madden.
It would be so fun to watch. What's another I don't know, signing, trade, whatever you've got that's going to be huge for fantasy this next year?
Yeah, you can call me a homer, whatever. But the Brandon Cooks trade from Houston to Dallas for a 5th rounder this year and a 6th rounder next year. This is the first big. Well, I guess the Gilmore trade was before this, but this offseason is the first offseason since 2012 or whatever that the Cowboys have actually done anything other than re-sign their own players or find a washed-up veteran on a team-friendly deal. But Brandon Cooks, I mean, he's probably the most underappreciated receiver in the league. He's a lock to reach 1,000 yards if he's not hurt or playing with Davis Mills as his quarterback on a team that, didn't even try to win, really. He's never been a huge house call kind of guy, more of a possession receiver.
Brandon Cooks?
I don't think he's ever hit double digits touchdowns in a season. I mean, he's got the ability to take a ball to the house.
Okay,
he's not your red zone target. That's more probably what I'm trying to say.
I was gonna be like, that guy is as fast as they come, really.
Oh yeah, he's a burner. He still is. I mean, he's lost a step or two.
He's still gonna be faster than half the league.
But put that across from CeeDee Lamb, and I mean it's pretty darn. Whatever. I'm gonna have a little bias here, but that's pretty darn close. There's not a better tandem other than like Tyreek and Waddle,
or Burrow, or
Higgins
and Chase.
I don't know that there's another tandem that's better than what CD and.
What about
Brandon
Juju
Cooks.
and Kendrick Bourne?
Yeah, you might be onto something there.
No, I agree. I think Brandon Cooks is you guys got him for like nothing.
I mean,
like
compared to what we gave up
something.
for Amari Cooper the other year in season was like a first and a second.
And I think you guys give up a 5th and 6th, right?
Saw the news. Yeah, we give up a 5th this year and a 6th next year, and I saw the news that we got Brandon Cooks, and I was like, well, they probably took Tony Pollard and our first rounder. But no, this is this is a steal, I think. Yeah, and another part of that too is, with Kellen Moore out the door, Mike McCarthy's going to be calling plays, and the offense is going to change. It's not going to be a run-first offense. I mean, Zeke's not there also. It's going to be a throw-first offense. I think that, and this helps CD. CD is going to benefit from, Cooks is probably going to get more attention, I think, than CD. They can play CD in the slot now too. They don't have to just set him up outside all the time.
It's also gonna, I guess, in a weird way, like, take more pressure off CD. Like, no, everyone's gonna be like, if people are double teaming CD, and it's like, well, like, there goes a 60-yard pass to Brandon Cooks down the sideline. You also still have TY also.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he is old, but I mean, he's still fast.
What he was signed to do is what Brandon Cooks will do.
It's kind of, this whole thing's just really, I think it's interesting too, because like now I guess it looks like the Michael Gallup experiment's kind of over.
Yeah, Michael Gallup experiment's over. Noah Brown is out of there.
Where did he go?
I think he went to Houston. He'll be done snaking touchdowns from actual fantasy relevant members of that team. The only issue is, which Dak are we going to see? Are we going to see the Dak who lit the world on fire for 5 weeks before he broke his foot the other year? Or are we going to see pretty much what we've had since? I think that's an important part. I mean, because you can have all the weapons in the world, but if Miami struggled a little bit without Tua, And you saw with the Jets, they've got some great receivers last year, but they couldn't get a quarterback to really do much in there. Not that I think Dak is Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco, but
I think you can get all the weapons in the world, yeah, but it really comes down to like, is Dak the guy that's going to take you guys over the hump?
Yeah, so that's my only concern with the Brandon Cooks signing, but for fantasy, like,
that's tasty. I'm thrilled with that.
That's a really, and he always falls into like the 6th or 7th round.
Cooks or Dak?
Cooks.
Cooks does, yeah.
And
Year after year.
He's a set it and forget it guy.
Last year was bad.
He
That was I think it was really his only bad year.
Didn't he break his leg one year? I think.
Maybe he did, but I mean when he was with Breeze in New Orleans, so good. Brady loved him in New England.
Yeah, he was good in New England.
And then he even played well with. Did he play with Stafford or is that right before Stafford? I think he played with Goff.
Yeah, I think he played with Goff. Did he play in Detroit?
No.
Oh, with the Rams. Yeah, I forgot Goff was.
He's on the Rams.
Yeah, he's finished PPR scoring. Except for 2019 when he was hurt, and last year or 2014 his rookie year, and then last year with Davis Mills chucking it.
Well, I mean, and he also sat out a lot because he just wasn't happy with how they were treating him.
I mean, he finished PPR 20th, 16th, and then 2019 was 62nd, and then 13th, 15th, 9th, 13th in fantasy points.
So it's like that's super consistent.
And that's with Breeze, Brady, and even with Goff. And the past 2 years before in Houston, they haven't had much. Deshaun didn't play.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for that. And then another thing I want to go and I'm going to switch to another guy that I got, another receiver that I'm really excited for is Elijah Moore to the Browns. Last year I was one of the Elijah Moore truthers. I kind of just picked him up towards the end of the draft. It wasn't like a huge deal, but I thought he was going to be a breakout, and I think a lot of people did too, especially how he finished his rookie year. Like that rookie year, I think like his last 6 games, he was like second overall like PPR or something. He was just like going off, and everyone thought it was going to like just transfer over. And then the Jets draft Garrett Wilson. People are like, well, maybe they're like a 1-2 punch. And then he gets phased out by like Corey Davis and terrible quarterback play, and then just gets in fights with not fights, but like just doesn't like the staff. Everyone was hoping for a trade, never happened. And then he was finally traded to the Browns. I think this could be in the same way as the Cowboys, just like a really high-powered offense. You got Chubb as your running back. You got Amari Cooper as your 1. Your 2 is Elijah Moore. And then your 3 is going to be maybe Peoples-Jones or someone.
Yeah, and I think that, by the end of the season, I think at this point Elijah Moore has more potential to be the guy than Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's a solid receiver. For fantasy purposes, kind of frustrating, from week to week the past 3, 4, 5 years. But yeah, if Deshaun can figure it out, we didn't see vintage Deshaun. I don't know if that's just because he doesn't get massages anymore.
I don't know what the deal is, because it was a pretty bad situation I guess it wasn't terrible for a while, or all that long until I guess the whole Bill O'Brien deal.
Yeah, he was, if he didn't have his suspension and stuff, he was on pace to be, Mahomes, Allen, Deshaun. That was going to be your top 3. It felt like. And then what he showed last year when he came back was just...
I think he was just rusty. There's really no reason why he can't ball out. He balled out with just DeAndre Hopkins, and he has more than that here.
Yeah.
Sorry. He might not have a DeAndre Hopkins type player, but like he has more people he can spread the ball around to.
And a good offensive line. I like the Browns. I feel like I've said this or felt this way the past 3 or 4 years, and they've made the playoffs once.
With Baker.
You look at their roster. Baker. I just saw where he went to, and I chuckled. I forget where it was. But yeah, you look at their roster, and it's filled with talent. Nick Chubb is an animal, and he has been since day one in the league. A solid line, and that defense is also filled with stars. They still have Myles Garrett. They had Clowney for a bit.
He walked. Or
he walked. And he played. He played well. He never seemed to be what he
could have been.
Was billed to be.
Yeah.
Out of college.
He should have been a Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But I mean that the team on paper looks good.
Hmm.
But we'll see what Deshaun Watson can do. I like the Elijah Moore trade a lot. He had one game last year where he got 10 targets. Just one, which is ridiculous. And I mean, the first 3 weeks were Joe Flacco, I think. I mean, he got 7, 5, and 9, and then Zach Wilson came in and it was 4, 4, 0, 1, 4, 2, and I think Zach Wilson went out 6, 10, 7, and then it finished the year 3, 2, and 1 in targets. Like
and I mean,
he's way too talented to be a 3 or sit on the bench.
he can be maybe not a 1, as in like the idea of like or the mindset of like a DK Metcalf type 1 where he's just going to take over games. But I mean, he can. I don't think he's really as.
Talent's there.
I don't think he's really as far off of maybe Garrett Wilson as everyone really thinks. Like Garrett Wilson's gonna be the star. It's like I think Elijah Moore has a lot of potential as well.
Yeah, which I don't. For the Jets, I don't understand. I mean, what all did the Jets get back in this?
I think they got a second.
I guess I can.
I think they have their second round pick back, or a second
Just
round
a
pick
second
for him,
round.
and maybe like it wasn't a second and a third. That's way too much. I think it was like a second. And I don't know exactly. I should have written that down. Sorry about that. But I don't think anyone should be surprised though if Deshaun Watson kind of figures things out and like this offense kind of takes the league by storm and just like a lot of points put up. Did you see what it was or no?
Yeah, it's the Jets gave up him and a third rounder for the Browns' second rounder.
Man, so they didn't really treat him like he was really worth all that much.
Yeah, which is I don't understand. I don't understand what the Jets are doing. Like I get Rodgers is going to be a Hall of Famer, but I mean go out and build for the future, and you had the wide receivers in place. I mean Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. I mean Breece Hall is going to be back this year. Breece Hall looked good before he tore his ACL. That was a real bummer. And I don't understand the whole overhaul to veterans. You know, Mecole Hardman, he's fine.
They
fine
got worse
player.
this offseason
They
with the
definitely
receiving
have.
core.
And Lazard's fine. I don't know. He's not like a special talent. He'll be a fine too with Garrett Wilson, but I would rather had Elijah Moore. Not spent a ton of money to try and bring in Rodgers, who might not drink his tea, and then you're screwed.
There was really no excuse for there to not be some sort of like Tyreek Waddle type stuff there.
Yeah, I
think it's just
the defense
the Jets.
The defense is stacked. Like you're a quarterback away, but don't tear down the young core that's going to keep you contending for a long time. Just to bring in this guy who's going to be. I mean, how many years is Rodgers going to play there?
Maybe
1,
3.
2?
I
don't think he plays 3.
You don't think he plays 3?
I don't think he plays 3. I think they don't make the playoffs 1 year and he's done.
Well, I've been listening. Okay, so I've been listening to some other podcasts and stuff, and I think I'm kind of convinced that like, I think just go out and get your guy, get Rodgers, whatever it takes, because you are the Jets and you haven't ever had like a good season. Like you might have something here. But it's like you need to go and capitalize on that and just be aggressive. It's like if it means getting rid of Elijah Moore, if you get some of these other guys and get Rodgers and get your Super Bowl or even a playoff, like that's
that's
playoff
fair.
win.
I guess they haven't been in the playoffs since Mark Sanchez's second year. Oh man.
Should we talk about some quarterbacks that we got?
Yeah, let's do it. You can go first. I'm pretty much.
I think I got one more, so I'll just go one more. I'm just trying to think. I guess I'll just cover the 2 quarterbacks that I got. Just really quickly and briefly. So we got Derek Carr to the Saints is a big move. The Saints paid a lot of money for him. 4 years, $150 million, which like
cheaper than Daniel Jones though.
It is cheaper. You're right, a lot cheaper.
Somehow cheaper than Daniel Jones.
$60 million guaranteed. Sometimes really a change of scenery is all a player needs. We saw it with like Drew Brees years ago, going from San Diego. Was then San Diego to New Orleans, and then Tannehill went from Miami to Tennessee and kind of jumpstarted his career. And even like this last year, like Geno bouncing around is like he actually is balled out a little bit for Seattle. And Derek Carr, like certainly, I would put him better by far than Geno and Tannehill. So I think he's in a good situation. The Saints paid him money, that like good money. They want that's their guy, and then now he gets to like build a chemistry with Chris Olave, which is something that a lot of owners have been wanting. It's just like someone just to give Olave the ball.
Is Landry still there?
I think Landry actually is there. I don't really think he's gonna pass it to him. It's really basically gonna be just the Derek Carr to Olave is going to be pretty much the Derek Carr to Devontae.
Yeah.
Maybe Devontae Light or Junior or something, but he's the guy there.
Yeah, I really like this for the Saints and for Derek Carr. I mean, he's never been bad. He's consistent, and I don't know that he's a quarterback who can elevate. I mean, he can definitely elevate from what the Saints had last year with Jameis and his back issues and Andy Dalton, whatever that was. Again, I feel like Andy Dalton just signs to be a backup and then
somehow takes a starting role
and sticks somehow. But I mean, he's a model of consistency and fantasy wise. I mean, yeah, it's the same thing, a consistent, you need 20 points from the quarterback, you can plug in Derek Carr pretty much any week. And I think the issue in Vegas, Vegas, like, those teams are just bad. Like, I'm excited to see what he can do with some talent. I mean, last year he had some weapons, but the defense has always let the Raiders down, so no matter what Derek Carr did,
Well, the coaching was pretty bad last year too. A lot of their games were decided by like 3 points.
Yep.
But I think actually another one of the signings I liked, which I think actually could be a better signing than the Derek Carr signing, is Jimmy G to the Raiders. Jimmy G and Derek Carr are pretty much the same player. Just like pocket passers that don't really turn the ball over. They're not like super aggressive. They can push the ball downfield if they want to, but like
just make good decisions.
They just make good decisions and they just don't really throw picks. I mean, I guess there were a couple of bad games here and there from Derek Carr, but this isn't going to get a lot of like hype because it's not like the huge like big name signing. It isn't like the super sexy like, oh, we just got Saquon for whatever. But yeah, they signed him for 3 years, $72 million, which is way cheaper than what Carr was offered or what he wanted. And yeah, I was saying he may not necessarily be an upgrade over Derek Carr, but they're definitely like the same tier. Like no one goes like, oh, you like seriously signed Jimmy G? Why'd you just re-sign Carr? It's like they're pretty similar.
In fantasy, you can always find them on the waivers. It seems at some point during the year.
And this is also like good news for Devontae too. I think a lot of people are like, great, so this is like rookie quarterback now. It's like, no, it's going to be Jimmy G who has some experience. So I don't think this is like, oh man, like the Raiders are going to new heights. Like they're going to blow the socks off some people, but I don't think they really like took any steps backwards. They just saved money.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they did save money. And the thing about Jimmy G, too, I mean, he's 40-17 as a starter.
Yeah, he wins for whatever reason.
So I mean, I think there's something, whatever that something to a guy who can just win games. Like if you're the Raiders, you have to be excited because was it that 2019 Niners team that was supposed to be pretty bad.
Yeah, and they went 14 and
13 and
they went to the AFC Championship game because he broke his leg in that game. Remember, he went to the championship game and then he got hurt and then I don't think he could play, and he was like hurt for like some of the next season or something.
Oh, yep. But I mean,
I didn't even know he was throwing the ball to then either. It was like
Was Ayuk? I don't think
no, Ayuk
was there yet.
No, he was.
Kittle was there. I think that was right.
Oh,
at the
I
start
thought you were
of
talking.
Kittle.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Derek Carr for some
Oh,
reason.
no.
My bad completely.
No, Jimmy G. I like that signing for Vegas, and I like it for Jimmy G. I think that not having Debo there, some weird hybrid player like Debo, I think that boosts his passing stats a little more. It kind of hurts that they don't have Waller. Jimmy G does like to throw to the tight end.
Who do they have? They don't have anybody.
I don't think they really have
because
anyone right now.
Foster Moreau just retired too.
Yeah, the Waller trade was interesting for both ends.
That is the Waller trade though is really good for Devontae.
Oh, I do love it for Devontae.
Mm-hmm.
David, if you listen into this, Devontae is probably the best 1 of 1 overall pick in a dynasty draft or even our redraft. Come August.
If you're not a Packers fan, you can just totally disregard that. Ben, I think you have one more player.
Yep. Yeah, I got one more.
This
is probably Nick's favorite signing of the offseason. It's Mike White Lightning to the Dolphins. 2 years, $8 million. Probably the best backup in the league. Just kidding. But it is interesting. For weeks 9 and 12 when Tua's concussed again or whatever. I mean, Mike White kind of balled out whenever he got the chance in New York. And was it 2 years ago? Really, with no one there. And now, if he gets the chance, he's going to have Tyreek and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
It's just, mostly wanted to put this on there because I knew Nick would. But I think it'll be interesting. I think keep an eye on Tua.
He'll be a huge wave ride once Tua gets hurt.
Any Tua owner might want to consider stashing Mike White if you have the bench spot. Because, I mean, I don't think he's played a full season. And
I don't think he has.
He's in year 5.
Yeah.
With some just really unfortunate injuries. Just
typical. Well, I think he's just kind of a smaller guy. He's pretty prone to injury. It just happens. Yeah. But I mean, I kind of do like that.
I like it. I do like it for the Dolphins.
I thought it was dumb once again in the Jets. I felt like the Jets should have kept him and just start him and get rid of Zach Wilson. That whole experiment. But
I know the Jets they're definitely going all in. But what happens? So what if Aaron Rodgers doesn't? Like, what if they can't work out a trade for Rodgers?
It's looking.
Then this is just a nightmare for the Jets. They've downgraded their weapons. I think they have no quarterback because unless they want to run back Zach Wilson
or Flacco.
That's just, man. I was so excited. Yeah, should have signed Baker.
They should have.
They probably trade for him pretty cheap.
But yeah, I was excited for Mike White too. Just like I thought he was going to be the guy this next year, and then I saw he signed elsewhere, and I was like,
he should. I want him to get a shot. Like I want to see what he can do over, 16 games.
Well, I mean, he's better than he actually might be the best backup in the league. Maybe behind like Brissett. Maybe he's number 2. I think Brissett's up there.
Brissett's a good game manager, but for fantasy purposes, I think Mike White is the best.
We had that 500-yard game 2 years ago.
Yeah, Nick just can't quit Mike White every chance he gets.
Yeah. So, anyways, people keep an eye out on Mike White, especially when Tua goes down. But
not if.
When. I think that about wraps up all we got, though, huh?
Yeah, I think that's. That about wraps it up.
Thank you everybody for listening. Sorry about this this short break that we've had and changes. We hope to be a little more consistent with our little insights and material. I think we might still be on Spotify. Check it out. If not, we are on YouTube and things like that. So make sure to give us a review, critique us, tell us what we can improve on.
Like, subscribe. All that good stuff.
And encourage Ben.
Yeah.
See ya.
Peace.